Huh? Yeah. We have a, you have a name, right? Anybody got it? Oh, he's here. He came in. He's in the audience. Front row, right there. In the gray, I believe it's him. Lisa Holmes in the audience. He's sitting on the woman holding the flag. The one on the front. I believe Lisa, I don't think so. Lisa was talking, so just want to make sure. Lisa's in the front row. We got some.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and welcome to the 2026 observance of Memorial Day here in the town of Milton. I welcome you normally as a trustee of Milton Cemetery, but clearly weather was not on our side today. We're grateful to Christine Stanton and to the Council on Aging, and certainly to the Select Board, our town administrator, for allowing us to gather here in this space to remember those who have given their lives in service to our country. Today is a day of remembrance, a day to stop, to pause, and reflect on the contributions that have been made on our behalf. People we know, people we have read about, served our country in a way that not only protected our freedom, but protected our way of life. We enjoy that today because of the sacrifices that men and women have made in service to our country. In service to our country on the battlefield, in service to our country coming home from the battlefield with the scars of war. And then the many who live their lives as if they had never served, because their commitment to our country was that great that they felt it was what they were called to do. So we remember them today in a special way. We are reminded that our memory is a special gift. And as long as someone is spoken of and remembered, their essence continues to resonate in our lives and throughout the world. And certainly the impact of the men and women who have served our nation around the world resonates throughout many different nations, many different cultures, because it means freedom has come to where they are. Democracy has come to where they are. And we celebrate that today as we honor these men and women. We remember today because it is the right thing to do. We remember today to honor the men and women who have served our nation, who have given their lives for us. We remember because we are a community, the town of Milton, who gathers in this space today to share and to celebrate in what makes our country great. And maybe most importantly, we remember because we never want to forget. We are very fortunate today to have with us the talented musicians of Milton High School, and they will begin with Lift Every Voice and Sing, and then at the conclusion of that, I would invite you to stand as the colors are presented, and we will have our national anthem sung by the chorus. Ladies and gentlemen.
Sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose washed stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
For those who are able, I encourage you to stand, if you may, as we begin our morning in prayer. I invite Reverend Maurice Davis to come forward to offer an invocation. Gracious Father, we are very thankful for the grace and mercy richly with us each and every day. We're thankful for the opportunity to gather on this day of remembrance, this day of memorial, to thank all those who have given their lives for our country, all those who are currently serving for our country. We're thankful for this organization that puts this yearly event together that reminds us that liberty comes at a cost, that freedom is not free. And so, again, we're thankful for those who have given the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of our country. We're thankful that we live in a land of freedom, a land where we have people who have strong enough convictions that they will be willing to pay the ultimate price. We ask now for your blessing upon those who are on our program this day, that you'll be with them as they make their presentations, as they share the information that they have come to share with us. We ask that at the conclusion of this event that we'll all be better people, more focused on
our common humanity, and on the great service that you give to us each and every day. It is in Jesus' name that we pray and give thanks. Amen.
I apologize. If those of you who are able to would kindly stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. And invite my colleague Jim Coyne of the Cemetery Trustees to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, one God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Last year and this year, the trustees of Milton Cemetery have been honored to participate in the planning and the execution of these Memorial Day exercises. Milton is fortunate to have a long history of men and women who have served this country, going back to the Revolutionary War. In the what we refer to as the old section of Milton Cemetery, as you come in the gate on the right, there are many Revolutionary War veterans who are buried there, some who died in service of the cause and others who died years later. But we memorialize them, and the trustees take that task and that responsibility very seriously. So today we are fortunate to have our trustees gathered here together, and I would like to introduce our chair, Terry Driscoll, to share some welcoming remarks.
Thank you, Joe. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. And thank you for adjusting with us today. And thank you to the Council of Aging for allowing us to move in here at the last minute. Today we observe Memorial Day, and we continue a tradition that means so much to this town, our veterans, and our veterans' families. I serve on the Milton Cemetery Board of Trustees with Joe Reardon, Jim Coyne, Jed Dolan, and Steve Pender. And I want to acknowledge them and thank them for their time and talents that they donate to the town of Milton. I also want to acknowledge our superintendent, Lisa Ahern, and her staff, and thank them for their stewardship of the Milton Cemetery. If it wasn't for today's weather, we'd be able to be there today, and you could see the amazing work that Lisa and her crew does day in and day out. I live next door to the cemetery, and I often walk the grounds, and I'm always struck by the care and attention paid to the grounds, not only in the spring, but winter, summer, fall. Lisa and her crew never stop. I also want to thank everyone who helped put this together today, in particular the Select Board, Town Administrator Nick Milano, Cody Case, Assistant Town Administrator, who stepped in at the last minute and helped get us to the finish line. Thank you so much, Cody. Sue Galvin, Council on Aging, again, for allowing us to be here. I also want to extend thanks to Milton Police, Fire, DPW, and everyone else that helps put this event together year in and year out. It's a community event, and it really needs to be a tradition that continues. I mentioned a moment ago that I often do walk through the cemetery, and there's a memorial right by where we typically hold this ceremony. And it's dedicated to the men and women from Milton who served our country. And it goes on to say that these veterans lie here in mute testimony to the manner in which they worked and fought to achieve the victories in order that America may live free. It's pretty powerful. Thank you.
We'll now hear from the Milton High School Band with the Armed Services Salute, recognizing the military branches. One of my regrets in life is that I never had the opportunity to serve in the military. But in my work as a funeral director and as a trustee of Milton Cemetery, I can say it is an honor to serve those who have served. Milton is very fortunate to have a long-standing, vibrant American Legion post, Milton American Legion Post 114. In the past few years, they have done many things to bring post-war 114 into the community in a special way. Several of those members of Milton American Legion Post 114 are with us today. Typically, they would present a wreath. Obviously, we would be doing that at the cemetery. But I would invite a representative of Milton American Legion Post 114 to come forward if he or she would like to not only give the greetings of the post and thoughts on Memorial Day, but to advise the community of a special event happening later today to honor the memory of PFC Paul Curran, the United States Army. I will put my friends from Milton, here we go.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jack Carlson, I'm the commander of Post 114. Honored to be here today to say a couple words. We gathered here today on Memorial Day to honor the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces who gave their lives in the service to our nation. Memorial Day is more than a beginning of summer. It is a day of reflection, gratitude, and remembrance. It is a day set aside to remember those who left home wearing the uniform of our country and never returned. There were sons, daughters, husbands, wives, fathers, mothers, neighbors, and friends. Their sacrifice secured the freedoms we enjoy every day. We are reminded that freedom has never been free. Every flag placed beside a headstone represents a story of courage and duty and love of the country. These heroes came from every walk of life, but they shared a common belief that something greater than themselves was worth defending. The best way we can honor these who gave everything is not only with the ceremonies and speeches, but by living worthy of their sacrifice. We must care for one another, protect the freedoms they defended, and teach future generations the value of service, patriotism, and unity. So today, let us pause and remember the fallen. Let us speak their names, cherish their memories, and never forget the price that was paid for liberty. May God bless our fallen heroes. May God bless their families. And may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you. Today, after this ceremony at 1 o'clock at American Legion Post 114, we're out on Granite Ave. We're going to do we're going to give the scholarships out. Post 114 gives 2 scholarships out to the high school kids, and the Paul Curran, their family gives out 2. So we'll be awarding those today, and we would love to have you all come down and enjoy the post. There'll be food, beverages, so thank you. Hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Commander. We are fortunate to have young people in our community who value a sense of community and a sense of patriotism. Today, we are honored to have with us Milton's Project 351 ambassador, and I'd like to welcome Ben Wallicott to the podium to offer a proclamation on behalf of the Commonwealth. Ben?
Whereas, in the aftermath of the Civil War, communities across the nation gathered to honor the soldiers who had given their lives, marking the first Decoration Day. And whereas, following World War I, the nation again united to honor those who died in service to our country. Renamed Memorial Day, the last Monday in May is a time to remember and honor the men and women who gave their lives in all American wars and conflicts. And whereas, throughout our history, thousands of Massachusetts residents have answered the call to serve, defending our nation, our freedoms, and our way of life. And whereas, their courage, sacrifice, and devotion to duty represent the very best of the Commonwealth and continue to inspire generations. And whereas, we must pause to remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice and recommit ourselves to honoring their legacy through service, unity, and gratitude. Now, therefore, Maura T. Healy, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, does hereby proclaim May 25th, 2026 to be Memorial Day and urges all residents of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance.
The town of Milton has been ably represented by men and women who donate of their time, talent, and treasure to make local government work. From cemetery trustees, which, believe it or not, are elected by the citizens of the town, to our select board, there are many people who contribute to the work that needs to be done every day to keep Milton operating for the benefit of its citizens. Today, we have several select board members with us, and I would like to invite the chair of the select board, Winston Daly, to come forward to share some remarks on behalf of the board.
Good morning, everyone. Let me just move this a little bit. Not at all. First, I want to start with some thank yous. Thank you to Lisa Ahern and the cemetery team. Thank you to Christine Stanton and the Council of Aging, the cemetery trustees, Matt Murphy, and the folks at Consolidated Facilities, as well as our DPW, and Cody Case, our assistant TA. It is not easy to pivot this quickly to put on this very, very important event. So thank you to all of you who've worked behind the scenes. In 1871, at Arlington National Cemetery, on what was then called Decoration Day, Frederick Douglass gave one of the great speeches in American history. And he said, "Tarry here for a moment. My words shall be few and simple. The solemn rites of this hour and place call for no lengthened speech. There is, in the very air of this resting ground, a silent, subtle, and all-pervading eloquence far more touching, impressive, and thrilling than living lips have ever uttered." So I will try to be as brief as Mr. Douglass was, knowing that nothing that I will say today will come close to the deeds of those we are here to honor. I want to begin by saying, although I'm very honored to be here and to be chair of the select board, I'm a little nervous. And the reason for that is I came to this country at 10 years old. Just myself, my mother, and my sister. So I do not have a family member who served this country. And last year when I was elected, I sat out at the cemetery at this great ceremony, and I thought to myself, if I have to approach that podium one day and give this speech, what would I say? Do I even have the standing to give that talk? So over the year, I've come to grips with that and thought about it regularly. And what I realize is that my standing is the same as so many others. We benefit from the sacrifices of so many that we will never meet, and those whose names we will never know. And the one way to honor that gift that they have given us is to say so out loud, in public, and today. Before Memorial Day had its name, our ancestors gathered to celebrate, to sing, to share stories, and to break bread, leaving one empty chair at the table for those who would not be forgotten. So we have always known that it is important to observe and express appreciation. So I reached out to my fellow board members and I asked them if they would be so gracious as to let me share the names of their family members who had served this country. So I will now say thank you to John Edward Driscoll Sr., Marine, Korean War veteran, and Milton firefighter. Edward Joseph Driscoll, Navy. Thomas Driscoll, 20 years in the Navy, World War II veteran. Clayton Obersheimer, Navy commander, who served at Normandy and received the Purple Heart. Carl Anderson, Navy, World War II veteran. Patrick Nolan, Army, World War II veteran. Bernard Haggerty, Navy. Daniel McCarthy Jr., Air Force. Daniel McCarthy III, Army. And William McCarthy, Army. And lastly, Robert Campbell, World War II veteran, 82nd Airborne, and Staff Sergeant of the 505th Regiment. He parachuted into Normandy on D-Day, and he fought in Operation Market Garden and the Battle of the Bulge. And he came home. And he is just Papa to my wife, Nicole, her grandfather. Those men and women left us an inheritance that we may spend, an asset that we should appreciate, and a nest egg that we should never squander. I'm thankful for this inheritance as an immigrant to this country, and I say thank you to the families whose loss made this country what it is. We remember them. Thank you, everyone.
Winston, if, Mr. Chair, if you and your members could stand, I don't know that the audience has seen our select board members. Thank you for coming. I see all of them here. Thank you for all you do. The town of Milton has a rich history of service to the community, to our country, and to our neighbors. Today, we have the fortune of, as my late friend Joe Manning, United States Marine Corps veteran of World War II, used to say, a Miltonian. Now, I know, I see Ian here, there's a difference between Miltonian and Miltonite, but I just want to say Representative Manning used to say Miltonian. And we're fortunate to have a Miltonian with us today that continues that legacy of service. Robert Jordan served in the United States Navy. He's retired from the United States Navy. He served throughout the world on various vessels and various assignments, was a member of the American Legion, and when he came home, he continued his commitment to our country, to our veterans, and to the community by becoming very involved in the American Legion. Bob is also very involved in the community. I see him, and many of you recognize him. He's hard not to recognize when he wears an American flag bow tie. So you probably have seen him before because he's involved in the community. Bob ascended the chairs of the American Legion through his own post, through county office, and to state office. In a few weeks, he will be installed as the state commander of the Massachusetts Department of the American Legion. An honor for him, but an honor for the town of Milton to have someone recognized in that way. Please join me in welcoming to the podium the town of Milton's state commander of the American Legion, Bob Jordan.
Now, I am very humbled because I know there's some more qualifying veterans of this town who could have came to speak today. But when that phone rang from Joe, I thought about it for about 3 or 4 seconds. I said, I'll get back to you. And probably within 2 minutes, I was like, yes, I'll be honored and privileged to speak to this great town. So without further ado, good morning, citizens and distinguished guests, and most importantly, the Gold Star families. We gather today not to mark the passage of time, but to anchor ourselves in the memories of those who gave everything so we can have anything. Memorial Day is often called the unofficial day of summer, but for those sitting and standing here today, it is a profound sacrifice weight. We are here to pay tribute that can never be repaid, but must always be acknowledged. The debt of our freedom purchased with the lives of our neighbors, our friend, and kin. Since the founding of our nation, the ultimate sacrifice has been the high price of our liberty. It is a phrase we often use, but let us pause to consider its reality. It is the young person who never saw their 21st birthday. It is a son or daughter who left their quiet, familiar town, quiet streets of our Commonwealth, the town of Milton, to serve in distant lands and never return to the town they called home. These men and women did not seek glory. They sought out duty. They walked into smoke of battle, not because they hated what was in front of them, but what was left behind them, their families, their communities, and the ideals of a nation that promises liberty for all. While we honor those who rest in eternal peace, we also must turn our hearts to those who live every day with the weight of that sacrifice. To our Gold Star families, your sacrifice did not end when the bugles played, when the flag was folded, for you and taps played. For you, Memorial Day is 365 days a year, is an empty chair at all family gatherings. It is a milestone reached without a parent's proud graze. It is the quiet strength required to carry a legacy of service forward. You are the living witnesses to the cost of freedom. Today, this town stands with you. We recognize that while your loved ones gave their lives, you have given peace, your futures, and a piece of your hearts. We owe you an unwavering support and deepest gratitude. Here in the town of Milton, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the echoes of service are etched into our very landscape. We are reminded of this every time we pass in Flanders Field Memorial. That bronze torch held high is a testament to the local sons and daughters who answered the call in every major conflict in our nation's history. From the townspeople who left those hills to preserve the Union, to those who served in the world wars, the mountains of Korea, the jungles of Vietnam, and the deserts of Middle East. They were ours. They walked the same sidewalks, attended our schools, and played in our parks. While we may not speak every name today, we hold their collective memory in the highest honor. Their names are written in the history of this town, and their spirit is a part of the living fabric of Milton and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. As we look across, I think we're in the cemetery now. As we look across this hollow ground, we see more than just markers and stones. We see the final resting place of our heroes. This cemetery is a sanctuary of silence, but it speaks volumes about the character of our town, our Commonwealth, and our country. Every flag fluttering in the breeze, every name carved in the granite is a reminder that while we are standing on soil made by sacrifice of the lives those who served, today we are here to make a solemn promise that this ground will never grow cold from neglect. We are here to ensure that as long as there is a town of Milton, there will be a voice to tell their stories. We do not just remember them with words. We honor them by the way we live by being a community worthy of the peace they brought us. To the service members who rest here today and across the globe, you are not forgotten. To the Gold Star families who carry the light, you are not alone. May God bless the fallen. May He bring comfort to those who miss them, and He may continue to watch over the town of Milton, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the United States of America. Thank you very much.
We remember so we never forget. Each year, the town of Milton calls the roll of the veterans who have died within the past year so that their name may continue on in our hearts and our minds. I would like to invite my colleague and chair, Terry Driscoll, to the podium to call the roll.
Thank you, Joe. Philip DeMattia, Army. Elliot Bent, Navy. Peter Doyle, Army. Stephen Well Jr., Army. Vincent Kelly, Marines. Mary Coyle, Air Force. Patrick Conley, Navy. Edward Coyle, Marines. Oliver Critchlow, Army. Peter Culhane, Navy. Richard Brown, Army. Harold Brown, Navy. Paul Kingston, Marines. Terrence Griffin, Navy. Jose Berrios, Army. Harold Fish Jr., Marines. Edward Gee, Army. William Saunders, Korea. And I also want to mention, we missed last year inadvertently, Robert Rayom, Army. Thank you.
Invite those who are able to kindly stand for taps. Thank you. We are reminded today, certainly of the men and women who gave their lives to our country on the battlefield or as a result of the injuries sustained in the military. But we are also reminded of the legacy of service that often accompanies men and women when they return home. When I came in this morning, I said hello to our Milton police officers and Milton firefighters, and particularly to the Milton firefighters. We extend our condolences of the loss of their brother, my friend, Bobby B.K. Kilduff, who was killed operating at a fire on Saturday. But BK, like many, served our country and then came home to continue to serve and lost his life in giving it up so that others may be safe. I'm also reminded by our police officers of Sergeant Michael Chestnut. Sergeant Chestnut, United States Army veteran, was killed in the line of duty several years ago. And as I look out into the audience, I see the Assistant District Attorney who prosecuted that murderer. And he's with us today, Greg Connor. That type of service is worthy of our recognition because for many, what happens in the service is something that they take with them for the rest of their lives, both the good and the bad. And so it is fitting that we remember our veterans and those who have given their lives for us in service twice a year here in the town of Milton. We should be doing it every day. Earlier, I mentioned that I never had the honor of serving, but I am honored to serve those who have served. And I know our state and our county delegation feels the same way. I would like to invite them to share their Memorial Day remarks, beginning with our state representative, Richard Wells.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. I'm a little upset, not upset, sad. Any of you who knew my dad, my father, a veteran of World War II, he and four of his brothers left their Dorchester home and went off to both the Pacific and European theaters. But my father, who came back and was on the police department here for almost 44 years, at some point in his life, without me knowing this or any of my brothers, he chose a certain place in Milton Cemetery where he wanted to be buried. And the spot he is in, if we were at the cemetery today for Memorial Day services, he's in the front row on the immediate left. And I asked him once, my father did not usually do things like that, but he was always extremely proud of his time with the service. He called it the greatest thing he'd ever done, joining the United States Navy. But he told me, when I said that to him, he said, well, this way I get to go to Memorial Day services every year, even from heaven. So sorry, Dad, no crowd today. Good morning. Thank you all for coming. You know, it would be easy this morning with this cloudy, crappy day, to be honest, to just pull the covers up to your chin and stay in bed. Just roll over and not even pay attention to what's going on outside. But the reality is that today, Memorial Day, across this country and across this globe, is to remember the honor and sacrifice of those who've given so much to make this country so great. So to each of you who are here, to everyone who has spoken, to everyone who's given memory, whether you've served or not, thank you so much, because you make this country and this world a better place. As Mr. Daly knows, I love to tell stories, and so I'm going to be very brief, and I'm going to leave you with a story of a Miltonian who passed away 2 days ago. His name was Stephen Murphy. Stephen is a graduate of Milton High School. He joined the Marine Corps. We proudly served the United States Marine Corps for many years. And then upon leaving the Marine Corps, joined the Milton Police Department. About 25 years ago, Stephen, the proud Marine that he was, went to the chief of the police at the time with the idea to create an honor guard. Prior to that, in the 50 some odd years at that point, or 60 years, maybe even was 70 years that the Milton Police Department existed, we did not have an honor guard. It was Stephen's idea and Stephen's belief that we could and should have an honor guard. And today, 2 days after his death, they stand here before you, none of you even knowing that that whole conception was the dream of a proud Marine and a proud public servant. Stephen, like many, like firefighter Kilduff, like many who served, leave the military service and then continue their public service in things like policing and fire service. It's a truly an honorable thing to do. And so today, on this Memorial Day, this afternoon, have a hamburger, have a hot dog, have some fun. The students enjoy having this day off. But remember, all of that is because of the sacrifice and freedom of others. And so I ask each of you, if you just join with me in a moment of silence for a good Marine. Thank you. God bless.
The town of Milton is fortunate to have 3 members of our state delegation. And my apologies to Representative Brandy Flucaroli, because I didn't see you actually over there, and I apologize. Richard was blocking you, I think. He's kind of tall. But it is my honor to ask Representative Flucaroli to come to the fore and address some remarks about Memorial Day. Representative.
I think we're still in morning. Good morning, everyone. State Rep Brandy Fluker Reed. I have Milton Precincts 1, 2, and 4A. And long before I ran for state rep, I was a teacher. So I tend to bring that spirit with me wherever I go. And Memorial Day, beyond being known as the unofficial start to summer, was actually a holiday first started in 1865 in South Carolina by freed slaves who, after the Civil War, wanted to honor the Union soldiers in particular who fought for their freedom. And so they did something called Decoration Day, where they went to all of the graves of the soldiers and decorated them with flowers, had a parade where over 10,000 people were in attendance. Word spread across the country and eventually became what we know today as Memorial Day. As someone who is from this country, who has ancestors who fought in the Civil War on both sides, Korean War, my grandfather fought in World War II. His wife's brother also fought in World War II. My Uncle Henry, who lost his life to Agent Orange cancer due to his service in Vietnam. His sons, who followed suit in the Navy and both did 2 tours in Iraq and the Middle East after 9/11. I just want to thank all of our veterans for their service. I, for sure, do not take for granted the freedoms that we have as a result of your sacrifice. And my best friend from high school actually joined the Marines and was also did 2 tours in the Middle East. And I came across the letters we would exchange while he was away. And I just also want to thank all of the families, the loved ones, the toll that it takes when they are away, wondering about their safety, the prayers that you keep for them, the memories that you treasure. And for anyone who has lost their relative in the line of duty, thank you for your sacrifice, for your loved one's sacrifice. And we are grateful to be able to honor them in a small way today.
Thank you, Representative The town of Milton is fortunate to have a state senator living in our town. And it is my honor to introduce our state senator, Bill Driscoll, and Will and Jack. Right, guys? They coming up? Nice.
Thank you very much. You got Will and Robbie. It's cool. You got one for two. It's all right. Thank you to Christine Stanton and your team for hosting us here on short notice and making it work, and everyone that worked to put this event together and do a little bit of a pivot, and particularly to our trustees of the cemetery and Lisa Ahern and your team. It's an honor to be with you. Again, bring greetings to our veterans organizations, of course, our Gold Star families and military veterans that are here with us and gathered. We stand on this beautiful, solemn day to remember the men and women that gave their lives in service to their great nation. I'd like to offer you some words of remembrance and recognition from the state Senate and the state legislature. You heard from my colleagues up at the State House that I work with on a daily basis. There's gatherings like this around the nation today, all over, to pay tribute to those who gave their lives defending our country. And we want to thank those families that carry that burden. We want to thank our Blue Star families as well that have family members and loved ones in harm's way as we gather to commemorate this Memorial Day. The great loss that's been suffered by our Gold Star families is immense. We recognize and honor you. We express our deepest and most sincere condolences. Your loved ones showed their country sheer bravery, and for that we remember them with pride. This Memorial Day, we are free because of their effort until the end. We gather here in peace and are immensely indebted to their service, recognizing their final work to protect us. Honoring their duty and loss of life, we make a commitment today and recommit ourselves to creating a better and more unified tomorrow. It's the best way that we can honor those that sacrificed for us so we may be free and gather in peace. And I was thinking about, Bob, your mention of the solemn and the sanctuary, the sanctuary of silence, I think you referred to it as, over at Milton Cemetery. And while we couldn't be gathered there today, I do know that there were several days when community members, including these guys, Boy Scouts, some of the Milton High organizations, all got together with Lisa Ahern, as we do every year, to adorn the graves, to continue that Decoration Day tradition, making sure that every grave that we know about has an American flag beside it. And so that day is not silent, because it's a time when we're learning history of the names that we're putting flags beside. If you haven't done it before, I would invite you next year to join us and join Lisa's team in doing so with the trustees as well, because it's really, really, it's kind of an amazing moment, particularly with young kids, even high school kids out there, to learn the history of who came before us and who's buried right here in Milton. So each of us as Americans should take this day and think about the selfless acts of courage of our fallen heroes who gave their lives in defense of our freedom. May they never be forgotten. May God bless Milton, the Commonwealth, and these United States of America. Thank you.
Milton is a town of tradition. In 1999, after first being elected to the House of Representatives, our next speaker was invited to deliver remarks at the Memorial Day observances in Milton Cemetery. He has done that every year since, through his years in the House, years in the Senate, and now as our Clerk of Courts. And he does so because of his sense of giving back to veterans, to honor those who have served. And it's a great legacy to welcome our Clerk of Courts, Walter Timilty, to continue that legacy of representing those who have died and thinking of them on Memorial Day in the town of Milton.
Thank you very much, Joe. Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here, and special thanks, of course, to our cemetery trustees, in conjunction, of course, with Christine Stanton and her team, and Lisa Ahern, for obviously making this work for all of us to honor what is the most hallowed day on our calendar here in the United States. That is Memorial Day. Special thanks, of course, there is an undeniable link between our veterans and our fallen heroes and heroines and our police across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and our fire service. And a special thank you and condolences to our firefighters who, of course, lost one of their brothers, Bob Kilduff. I had the privilege of working with both Bob Sr. and Bob Jr. In my capacity working for you folks in the Massachusetts State Legislature, and they truly were the best of the best. So to both our honor guards today, thank you. Today, of course, we gather in this great town in Milton in what is a wonderful tradition of observing Memorial Day, a day of remembrance, a day to honor the men and women of the United States Armed Forces who gave their lives in service to something much larger than themselves. The United States military is renowned for being the greatest in the world, and rightly so. It is defined not only by strength and capability, but by an extraordinary tradition of duty, discipline, and sacrifice. From the fields of the Revolutionary War to the beaches of Normandy, from the frozen mountains of Korea, in what was the first UN policing action against communist aggression, to the jungles of Vietnam, to the deserts of the Middle East, American service members have answered the call every time, under every condition, and against every form of adversity. But what makes these women and men truly remarkable is not only what they've accomplished in life, but what they were willing to give in death. These were daughters and sons, parents and spouses, cousins, friends, neighbors, our fallen heroes and heroines. They carried dreams that they knew that they may never see fulfilled, and yet they stepped forward anyways, so that others might live in peace and freedom. In short, their sacrifice is personal. It is written in the empty chairs at family tables with our Gold Star families, in the presentation of folded flags, and in the engraving on monuments like those that stand here in the town of Milton. Specifically, these sacrifices, the ultimate sacrifices, have helped shape a world in which freedom has spread. Certainly, much of this has been done in the theaters of war, but it has also been done in other ways. In rebuilding shattered nations following World War II and what was called the Marshall Plan. The idea of General George C. Marshall, the architect of our triumph in World War II over the forces of evil. In the vigilance that mitigated the threat during the Cold War, our women and men of the armed forces stood tall and made it clear that a nuclear attack from what was then the evils of the Soviet Union would never happen during the Cold War. And more recently in humanitarian missions, peacekeeping operations, and in defense of our allies who know that they can rely on the support of the greatest military in the world, the armed forces of the United States. Their influence is not about domination. It is about protection, about our way of life and our ideals. Ideals and a way of life that millions across the globe enjoy because of the blanket of protection the United States military and our fallen heroes and heroines have provided for us all. And yet, with all of this, we must remember that their sacrifice is not measured in manifestos or medals or memorials, but in one simple fact, that our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, Marines, National Guard and Air National Guard, and of course, Space Force, were willing to give everything so that others could have a chance at everything. It has been said that when words are not enough, we need ritual. So today we carry out that ritual. We say thank you to the fallen of every branch of the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Space Force, our National Guard, and our Coast Guard, as I mentioned earlier. And we say thank you to our Gold Star families who carry their memory forward. We offer our support, and to future generations, we pass on this responsibility to remember, to honor and to ensure that such sacrifice is never forgotten or taken for granted. Freedom is not self-sustaining. It is earned, preserved, and defended, often at a cost that only a few are asked to bear for the many. Today, we honor those who have borne that cost. May we live in a way that is worthy of their sacrifice. With that, God bless our fallen heroes and heroines. God bless our Gold Star families. God bless our Blue Star families. And of course, God bless this great town and our wonderful nation. Thank you very much.
As we began the day, we will conclude the day in prayer. The town of Milton and the Milton Interfaith Clergy Association has been intertwined for many, many years, and we are fortunate to have clergy people like Reverend Maurice Davis and now Reverend Marcel Dotson, who share their faith with the community and bring us together. So I would invite Reverend Marcel Dotson to offer our benediction.
I'd first like to thank the Milton Choir in high school for your music and for your wonderful rendition of the military hymns. My family's mostly Air Force, but we had some Marines and we had some Army people as well, so you did them a great honor in how you performed those songs. So now, in remembrance and in gratitude, let us be in prayer. Holy God, as we bid farewell, grant us the strength to carry the memories of our loved ones with grace. Let your love be the balm that heals our wounds. In reverence, we conclude this memorial, remembering the lives of those we've lost. May their legacies inspire us to live with purpose and thankfulness. As we commemorate the commitment and sacrifice of those whom we honor this day, and as we seek closure, guide us in remembering their lives with love and gratitude. May your grace surround us, and may your peace and your desire for amity between peoples be our constant companion as we carry their legacies forward. Amen. And from Numbers 6:24, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and grant us peace. Amen.
Our concluding song will be God Bless America from the Milton High School Band. When we began this morning, I was reminded that as long as someone is spoken of and remembered, their essence continues to resonate. Certainly, the town of Milton has achieved that today by remembering those who have given their life in service to our country. But I'm also reminded that there is a responsibility and a duty that we have as we continue forth today. At noontime, the United States flag is raised to its top position as a symbol that the mourning period of Memorial Day has ended. It is a symbol that is incumbent upon us, those who remain, to continue in our own ways, in our own families, and in our own communities, to fight for the liberty and for the justice and for the love of this country and each other that those who gave their lives for us showed. So as we go forth today, we keep that in mind. But I'm also reminded that those who are here, those who perhaps are going to view this on cable television, are people who are connected. And there's an old Chinese proverb: when we hear, we forget. When we see, we remember. But when we do, we understand. Those of us gathered here today are doing and understanding. Let us take that with us as we go out into the community today, remembering those who have given their life so that we may enjoy ours, and remembering that the freedom and the way of life we enjoy is always defended by the men and women of our armed services. A last thank you to our superintendent at Milton Cemetery, Lisa Ahern, our assistant town administrator, Cody Case, and today, Christine Stanton, the Council on Aging, did a quick turnaround because I don't think this was called until Saturday. So it's quick to, or maybe even yesterday, to turn this around. So thank you for all you've done to honor our community and to honor those who have given their lives. The 2026 Town of Milton Observances of Memorial Day have concluded. I ask that you take that spirit of freedom and that spirit of love for community with you as you depart. Thank you, and God bless America.